Hey, do you want to learn to wall stack in Rust? And maybe even build a base like this? Okay, or maybe something more like this. But there's also hundreds of wall stacking build videos out there you can use for inspiration. Personally, I think that all Rust players should understand the basics of wall stacking. Even if you aren't a base builder, it can be useful to know the weaknesses of a base when raiding. Don't let this happen to you. So today I'll go over all the basic information you will need to completely understand wall stacking in Rust. Firstly, let's clear up the terms multi-TC and wall stacked. These terms are used a lot in the building community, but it tends to confuse new players. A multi-TC base consists of multiple tool cupboards. I hope you already knew that. While a wall stacked base combines multiple TCs together to create one final design. Wall stacking can be used to create better bunkers, peak downs, and increase the raid cost to grief or take over your base. Using this basic 2x2, we can see the main TC privilege shown in white, while the external TC coverage is shown in blue and red. So even if a raider were to break our main TC, the externals would overtake the area. So now that you understand the basics of wall stacking, we can finally get into the tutorial. Let's start by learning to wall stack a square foundation. For this, we'll build off 8 squares from our main base, with the 9th foundation being a triangle instead of a square. Next, let's demolish all the 8 square foundations, leaving only the last triangle behind. As we've run out of TC privilege this far out, we'll need to break the foundations with some kind of tool. Once we're back into TC privilege, demolish the rest of the foundations up to your main base. Now jumping on to our 9th triangle, we're going to build in with these half moon shapes of 4 triangle foundations. Note that you cannot place 2 wall stacked foundations next to each other, so you'll have to demolish the inner foundation of our base to place in this wall stacked one. We can now go ahead and upgrade the foundation and then place some walls on top. As you can see, there's some small gaps on either side, but we can seal these in with wall frames. Don't forget that this middle wall is not connected to our main TC and is going to need an external. I like to build my outer TCs using this diamond shape. Normally, around the 6th triangle, you're going to run out of TC privilege. This is the ideal spot for our tool cupboard. Let's upgrade the other 4 foundations to stone and demolish everything else behind it. After building in our TC, the most important part is placing down these wall frames on top of the triangle foundations. These frames connect your TC to the wall and keep your base and foundations from decaying. Let's move on to wall stacking a triangle foundation. For this, we'll only build out 7 square foundations, with the 8th one being a triangle. Once again, let's demolish all the squares going into our base. And finally, build back in with triangles towards the core. We'll go ahead and upgrade the final foundation and demolish all the extra. We can then add walls on top of all 3 of these foundations and once again fill in the gaps with wall frames. As you can see from both sides, the wall frame is completely sealed off the gap. One of the most common uses for wall stacking is to create some strong wall bunkers. As the wall itself is detached from the base on its own foundation, the bunker will open up simply by placing a roof piece next to the wall. Once again, we'll see the need for a wall frame in the bunker to seal off this gap into our core. While I build in this wall frame, you have some time to hit the like button and maybe subscribe if you want to see more videos like this or other base builds. You can now see that the gap is completely gone and sealed up by our wall frame. Now that you understand the premise of wall stacking, let's apply it to a basic 2x2 like I've built here. First of all, let's build out a few triangles to center off our TC right in the middle of the 2x2. As we're wall stacking a triangle foundation, we'll build out 7 squares with the 8th one being a triangle foundation. We can now demolish all the square foundations and also the 2 triangles we used to line up our external TC. Then let's build back in with our triangle moon shape foundations. And approaching our 2x2, we'll have to connect 3 different triangles into the walls. There's going to be some excess foundation sticking out once we have our walls placed down, but this can eventually be honeycomb. Next, let's demolish any extra foundations we won't need and start creating our diamond pattern to build the external. Once again, when we run out of privilege, let's drop down our TC. Demolish any extra foundations behind it. And then we can upgrade our diamond patterns to stone. Now with all of that complete, let's build in a basic wall bunker. We'll place a wall on the left side of our main entrance and also a roof piece on top. It's crucial that this roof piece comes off the 2x2 to keep our bunker wall isolated. We can then place in our final wall. And as we already placed down a wall frame in the doorway, there's no gap to worry about from the outside. And our bunker is now complete. We can use a triangle roof piece to open it up and enter inside. And of course, to seal off the wall, simply break the roof piece. Later on, we can make this a drop-down bunker by using the other two wall-stacked foundations. And our final step, of course, is to connect all of this to our external TC with wall frames so it doesn't decay. I'll leave you to mess around with this. You can build some pretty crazy peak downs and roof floors. This video won't make you a pro at wall stacking right away, but it will give you the tools you need to learn and improve at your builds. I hope this video has inspired you to jump onto a sandbox server and practice building a few wall stacked bases. And with all of that said, that's been it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.